Hi guys. Now that we've learned about the game, the pieces, how they move, how they capture, the values, talked about check, checkmate, and stalemate, and we learned how to do the two basic checkmates. It's time to talk about the basics. By the basics, I mean the board, the squares, their names, files, ranks, and the pieces, and how we sometimes name them or call them hanging pieces, trap pieces, and then the basic elements of combination. Pin, fork, skewers, and discovered attacks. And then the special moves, like en passant, and the special pawn moves, like promotions. These are basic stuff that would be using as we go into the game. When you start the game, I'll be mentioning some of these things. As I explain concepts and things during the game, I'll be using some of these terms and I would expect you to understand them. So these basics would introduce you to all of these concepts, what they mean, and you would be able to understand all the basic explanations better. So let's start. Okay, so let's talk about the board now. Now, the board is made up of 64 squares, 8 by 8. Now, as you can see, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, this A indicates that all the squares on this line, their name starts with the A. Now, all the squares on this line, their name starts with a B. This name starts with a C, and then this name starts with a D, and then this name starts with an E and an F. This name starts with a G, and this name starts with an H. This way, the names end with a 1. The names end with a 2, ends with a 3, ends with a 4, ends with a 5, ends with a 6, ends with 7, and ends with 8. So if this name starts with an A and ends with a 1, that is A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, C1, C2, C3, C4, like that. F6, D7, F8, H8, D3, B7, G4, D8, H3, E3. So you need to know the names because I'll be using the names while I explain. So these are the names of each of the squares. So you just have to know that just for now. Now, we said all the files, all the squares going this way, the names starts with an A. Now, for all the names that starts with an A, we call all those files going this way, we call this a file. So this A now is referred to as the A file. And this is the B file. This is the C file, the D file, the E file, the F and the G files. Now we said all of this, the names end with a 1 and 2 and 3. These are the ranks. So this is the first rank. Excuse me. This is the first rank, the second rank, the third rank, the fourth rank, the fifth rank, the sixth, seventh, and eighth ranks. So we know these are files going up, and these are ranks. And we know the names of the squares. So these are the basic things to know when it comes to the board. Now, let's talk about the pieces. I would like to create something for you. So basically, when you are when you're playing a game of chess, you're trying to attack the king in such a way that it has nowhere to go. And in trying to do that, you have to make trades. These pieces are going to get in contact with the other pieces. So you have to make trades. And we talked about the values. So if you know, okay, this is 1, and this is also 1. So if I take this, he's going to take me. So, but I'm going to give up 1, but yeah, I'll give up 1 for one, which is good. So if I play this and it takes back, it's a fair trade because I give up one for one. Now, since we know all of that, like if I make a move like this, and black makes a move like this, and then I make a move like this. Now, this pawn is regarded as an hanging pawn because it is not protected by anything. This knight can take it without black losing anything because if the pawn has been taken, nothing is being captured by the white pieces. So we said the pawn was hanging. That is what we refer to as hanging pieces, pieces that are not guarded. Like if I play a move like knight here, and this knight goes all the way back. Now we see the knight is attacking the bishop, 1, 2, and 10. The knight is attacking the bishop is hanging now. So if the bishop is guarded, like a move like a pawn move like this, remember pawns capture to the side. So if this knight ends up taking the bishop, the pawn can take back. So this bishop is no longer hanging at this point. Because if the knight captures this, the pawn can take back. So the bishop wasn't hanging. But in this position, if white had just played a move like this, which I would explain later, which is putting the king into safety, and black goes ahead to capture the bishop without anything happening to the knight, that bishop was hanging. So that is what we refer to as hanging pieces. When your pieces are not guarded, when they can be captured without the piece that captured them being captured back, we refer to those as hanging pieces. Now let's go to trap pieces. Okay. In this position, we see this knight goes 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, turn. And 1, 2, turn. These are all the 4 squares the knight has access. But the bishop is stopping it from moving. If the knight goes to any of the squares, the bishop is going to capture it. If the knight goes here, or here, or here, or here, the bishop is going to capture it. But do we now say the knight is trapped? Do we call this a trap piece because it has nowhere to go? The answer is no. The knight is not trapped. The knight is not a trap piece. The knight is not trapped because the knight basically has nowhere to go. And the bishop has to stay here to act as a security watching the guard, watching the knight. The knight is not going to move. The bishop is not going to move. They're both just going to stay there. So the knight is going to say, you know what? You stay here and I'll stay here. So unless something happens. So the knight is basically not trapped. The knight simply has nowhere to go. But this is the first step in trapping a piece. The first step in trapping a piece is to see that, oh, wait, that piece has nowhere to go. So once you find out this piece has nowhere to go, it is an indication that the piece can be trapped. And how do you trap it? You trap a piece by attacking it. This is when it comes here. Now when I attack the piece, this is officially trapped because now it has nowhere to go and it is under attack. That's what makes a trap piece. A trap piece is basically a piece that has nowhere to go and is under attack. Now let's go to the other things. Pins, forks, skewers, and discovered attacks. Okay.